How's it going, everyone? We're here in the garage in Florida with the nice winter weather we're having, checking out a new product. Hope you all have some exciting bicycle adventures planned for 2025. We're trying to. We got some stuff. We got some stuff we're working on. Should be a pretty exciting year. So today we're talking about bike pumps, and depending on what type of adventure we go on, from mountain bike races, everyday rides, or multi-day bikepacking trips, we typically either bring CO2 cartridges or hand pumps. But now we have a new GoPro-sized small electric pump made by Flextail, who reached out to me thinking their new upgraded version of the original tiny bike pump, now called the Tiny Bike Pump Pro, would be a good addition to our gear. So they sent me one to test out, and we've been using it for 2 months now. No money has changed hands for this review, and our opinions are all our own. So let's see if this product is good enough to get a spot on our gear list, and maybe yours. The new version of this pump really has some nice improvements, which include an LED screen, increased max pressure to 120 psi, extended battery life, auto shut off at desired pressure, and increased durability. They give you a waterproof bag that you can put it in. They recommend, if it's in your shirt pocket, to use this. Here's the actual pump. This is the hose with the Presta adapter. Comes with a charging cable, spare O-ring, adapter to pump up balls, and this is to convert it to use Schrader. This pump is very simple to use. There's a button right here, and then there's a button on the side. To turn it on, you just long press, and then I'll initially show you the desired pressure first, and then it'll go to 0. There's a battery indicator right here on the left. To change the pressure, use these buttons on the side, and you can select whatever desired pressure you want. And if you hold the button down, it'll go faster. And if you want to change it to bars, you hold both of these down, and it changes the bars. And this pump will automatically turn itself off, or you can long press, and you can force it to turn off. So there's 2 ways to use this pump, and what we're going to do is just use the pump head directly on the tire, and then not use this included hose. So all you do is, like I said, long press to turn it on. It'll show desired pressure first, and it'll go to 0. And then you can use this as an actual tire pressure gauge if you want. So as soon as you put it on the tire, it's going to tell you what the pressure is in the actual tire. But you can only do that by using this. If you try to use the hose, it won't show you the actual pressure that's in the tire because it has a check valve in it. And if you want to start, let's hit this button, and it stops at the desired pressure. So how does this pump stack up to the other 2? So let's do a little comparison. And for these tests, I used a common size tire of 29 by 2.35 and inflated it to 21 psi. I also tried a couple other different size tires that I have, including a road bike tire, and I'm going to provide a table in a little while. Please note that your results may be different than mine, as the results will vary depending on tire sizes and inflated pressure. Alright, so first up, our comparison is the CO2 cartridge. We typically bring 2 of them with us, and this weighs in at 170 grams with the inflator head. And you can inflate tires from 0 to 21 psi in 7 seconds. No surprise that this is the fastest. The pros are, obviously, it's the fastest to inflate tires and is the best guaranteed way to beat a tire. It is possible to beat a tire with the other 2, but it strongly depends on what type of tire and rim you have, and I didn't test it. The cons are, it can be hard to use and is only good for 1 inflation per cartridge. So you gotta get it right the first time, or you got 1 spare and then you're out of luck. The other cons is there's no pressure gauge, and you cannot bring it on a plane, and you have to source it once you get to your destination, which can be a pain. The best use case would be racing or everyday rides where you would not have room for a hand pump. All right, the good old hand pump. This is the pump we normally bring on our bikepacking trips, and they come in all sizes and capacities. Larger the pump, the faster they are. The pump we use is a simple one that weighs in at 135 grams and can inflate a tire from 0 to 21 psi in 87 seconds. This is obviously going to be the slowest to inflate a tire. We do have a larger hand pump that we used to use when we were doing bike touring and had more room. And this thing weighs in at 270 grams. But we don't use this anymore because we don't have the room. The pros of hand pumps are, obviously, they're very dependable and will keep on working until your arms wear out. And you can also bring it on the plane. Gotta go by feel. 20.5, it's pretty close. The cons are it's obviously the slowest of the bunch and can be tiring to use. Its best use case is bikepacking or bicycle touring, but not something we typically bring on everyday rides just due to its size. Okay, you're all like, man, finally you're getting to this thing. The Tiny Bike Pump Pro weighs in at 132 grams, which is the lightest, and this is just for the pump, which is how we typically would use it. Now, if you want to bring the separate hose, this will add 25 grams. It can inflate the tire from 0 to 21 psi in 57 seconds, which slots right in the middle. And you can do it almost 5 times until it needs charging. 19, which only takes 30 minutes. The pros are it's the easiest pump to use of the bunch and has a built-in pressure gauge that can also be used just to check pressure if you want. It's also very compact and it can be carried on a plane. The cons are, and this is just my personal thoughts on this, is it's another battery to charge, which is a real thing these days. We have so many things with batteries. And I'm not totally sure on the durability. The best use case is bikepacking, bike touring, everyday rides. Its small size makes it easy to drop in a shirt pocket, bike bags, or if you happen to have a bike frame with internal storage like my Specialized Epic 8, it fits perfectly in the frame with the spare tube. It's like it was made for it. So here's the chart of different tires I inflated if y'all are interested to take a look. Okay, so my only concern about this product, and I'm being totally honest here, is with its potential long-term durability. There's always critical multi-day bikepacking gear items that if they don't work, you could get stuck in the middle of nowhere. And this is one of them. Technology is great until it's not. So for this reason, we would not solely rely on this pump for bikepacking. So you all might be thinking at this moment, it's probably not even worth taking this on a multi-day bikepacking trip. But to the contrary, I think it will be perfect as our new main pump, and we'll now keep our good old hand pump as a backup. And I'll tell you why. There are 2 uses for a pump when you're on a multi-day bicycle adventure. The first and rare event is when you get a puncture. And for us, this doesn't happen very often. Knock on wood. Hope it doesn't change anytime soon. The second and most common use for a tire pump is for topping off tires. This is where the Tiny Bike Pump Pro will shine in my mind, as we always air the tires down a little bit when flying the bikes and never bring a pressure gauge, so I just go by feel. Then every couple of days while on trail, I always add air to the tires as needed, again by feel. This is where the Tiny Bike Pump Pro will be perfect with its built-in pressure gauge and ease of use. It's super easy to check your air pressure, and then you hit a button and add it to the desired pressure. This is not as common, but on some adventures, you could have long sandy sections. Definitely that could happen in Florida. So in these cases, you typically would want to air down the tires while riding through the sandy sections and then air them back up when you're back on pavement or harder surfaces. In the past, I never wanted to mess around with the hand pump to do this, so I just dealt with the sandy sections. But now, man, it's so easy to air the tires down and back up again with this pump. So finally, for everyday shorter rides that you normally do or commuting to work, man, this pump's a no-brainer to use as a main pump. Okay, so finally to answer the question, is this product right here good enough to go on our permanent gear list? And I gotta say, it definitely is. If you're interested in the Flextail Tiny Bike Pump Pro, I provided a link in the video description to their product that will also get you a discount. We would love to hear your thoughts on this product in the comments section, and if you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel and or give me a thumbs up. Oh, I feel so pressured into saying that one last thing. God, I'm so sorry, y'all. Happy trails.